Have you ever wondered what people mean when they say, "Life begins at 40"? The phrase sounds almost mythical, as if there's some hidden secret waiting to be revealed on the day you turn 40. The first time I heard it, I couldn't help but question whether something truly transformative was supposed to happen. Would it be a magical shift, or was it merely a comforting phrase to help ease the anxieties of aging? I searched for answers, asking those around me what they thought, but most people simply shrugged it off as a cliché, a well-meaning sentiment meant to soften the reality of middle age. But I couldn't let it go. I believed there had to be something more profound behind it, something meaningful waiting to be uncovered. My search for clarity led me to the wisdom of Stoic philosophy, a lens through which life's transitions begin to make sense. Here, I discovered that the number 40 isn't magical, it's symbolic. As Carl Jung once said, life really does begin at 40. Up until then, you are just doing research. For some, that awakening might come earlier, for others, later. The key isn't in the age, but in the inner transformation that occurs when you step beyond the surface of life and begin to live with intention. For me, the idea became clear. Life doesn't begin at a specific birthday, but at the moment when we stop being passive observers of life and start actively shaping it, aligning with who we are at our core. In our youth, we often misunderstand what it means to truly live. We're filled with energy and enthusiasm, believing that we've figured out the world and how it works. Youth feels like the pinnacle of existence, where the most meaningful and thrilling experiences happen. We chase dreams, accumulate accomplishments, and revel in the belief that we've mastered life. But as the years pass, especially as we approach 40, a deeper truth begins to surface. The dreams we once thought were everything start to feel incomplete, and the measures of success that once defined us no longer hold the same weight. It's not that youth was wasted, it's that youth lacked the wisdom that only experience can bring. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." In our younger years, we often react impulsively, driven by emotions and the need to prove ourselves. We measure life by achievements, by how others perceive us, and by the external rewards we collect along the way. But these pursuits, exhilarating as they may be, often leave little room for introspection. Youth is a time for exploration, yes, but understanding comes later. Take, for example, the story of Jack, a young man who began his career with ambition blazing like wildfire. At 22, he believed that working tirelessly, sacrificing sleep, and pushing through every obstacle would guarantee success. He saw failure as an enemy and setbacks as personal attacks, constantly seeking validation from others to confirm his worth. But as he entered his 40s, Jack's perspective began to shift. After years of navigating both triumph and failure, he realized that relentless effort didn't always lead to proportional rewards. He learned to be patient, to appreciate collaboration, and to value the relationships he built along the way. What once felt like a race against time now became a journey of purpose and meaning. Jack no longer sought recognition or applause. He found fulfillment in doing work that mattered, regardless of who was watching. The recklessness of youth gave way to a quiet strength, forged through experience and reflection. Jack became more than just a competent professional. He became someone who could navigate life's challenges with grace and wisdom. And this is the beauty of life at 40. It's not about what you've achieved, but about the clarity with which you now see the world. At 40, life stops being a sprint and becomes a marathon. Mistakes are no longer signs of failure, but stepping stones that lead to a more profound understanding of who we are and what we value. When you reach 40, something magical does happen, but it's not a sudden revelation or a gift handed to you on your birthday. It's the accumulation of years spent learning, growing, and discovering what truly matters. You begin to realize that the world's recognition is fleeting, and what holds real value is living in harmony with your inner self. There's a quiet confidence that emerges, a sense of peace that comes from knowing you no longer have to chase after approval or external rewards. In Stoic philosophy, this transition is seen as the point where wisdom takes center stage. Wisdom isn't something you can rush. It's like fine wine, becoming richer and more nuanced with time. At 40, you're finally ready to savor it. The lessons learned from failure, the resilience gained from hardship, and the reflection born from solitude, all of these experiences converge to create a version of you that is more grounded and self-aware. At every stage of life, we pursue something. In our 20s, we chase ambition, tying our happiness to milestones like promotions, wealth, or romantic success. We believe that if we achieve enough, we'll feel fulfilled. But as we run toward these goals, a quiet question begins to emerge. Is this all there is? In our 30s, that question grows louder. The dreams we once held on to so tightly begin to shift, and we're forced to confront the gap between who we thought we'd be and who we've become. This period of reflection can be painful, but it's also necessary. It's in these moments of doubt and recalibration that we begin to plant the seeds of wisdom. Then, at 40, those seeds bloom. We realize that life isn't about chasing external markers of success. It's about understanding what brings us genuine fulfillment. The clarity that comes with this realization is often mistaken for a midlife crisis, but it's actually a midlife awakening. We confront the finite nature of time, the inevitability of loss, and the fragility of life. These realizations, while sobering, are also liberating. They give us the courage to let go of what no longer serves us and focus on what truly matters. The greatest gift of turning 40 is the clarity to prioritize. We begin to cherish quality over quantity, deep relationships over a vast network of acquaintances, meaningful work over empty titles, and moments of joy over the constant pursuit of more. We stop living by society's script and start writing our own story, one rooted in authenticity and purpose. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." At 40, this truth resonates more deeply than ever, guiding us as we step into the next chapter of our lives. As we move through life, each decade brings its own lessons, but it's often at 40 that those lessons crystallize into something deeply meaningful. In our 20s, life feels like an endless canvas, and we paint it with bold strokes of ambition and excitement. We tie happiness to milestones, promotions, new relationships, material success, and assume that achieving these things will lead to lasting fulfillment. But no matter how much we achieve, a lingering question remains. Is this enough? When we enter our 30s, that question becomes harder to ignore. We face setbacks and disappointments, often realizing that the dreams we once clung to don't necessarily align with the people we've become. Our career ambitions may shift, relationships may evolve or end, and we begin to experience losses, sometimes of loved ones, sometimes of the version of ourselves we once imagined. This decade becomes a period of recalibration, where we're forced to look inward and confront the things we previously avoided. It's painful, but it's also necessary. The 30s plant the seeds of wisdom that will fully bloom in our 40s. By the time we reach 40, the shift in perspective is undeniable. Life changes, not because it slows down, but because we finally see it with clarity. The finite nature of time is no longer an abstract concept. It's something we feel. We begin to understand that time is our most valuable resource, and that understanding reshapes how we approach everything. What once seemed urgent no longer holds the same power. Instead, we prioritize experiences and relationships that are meaningful. We learn to let go of the things that drain us and focus on what nourishes our spirit. This awakening is often mislabeled as a midlife crisis, a term that conjures images of despair and regret. But what if it's not a crisis at all? What if it's an awakening, a moment where we break free from the expectations placed on us by society and rediscover who we truly are? Turning 40 isn't about starting over. It's about starting anew with the wisdom we've gained along the way. It's about embracing our past without being defined by it, and using the lessons we've learned to live more authentically. Take Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher, who said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This truth resonates deeply at 40 because we begin to understand that our happiness is not dictated by external circumstances. It comes from within. We learn to focus on what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and responses, while letting go of the things we cannot. This shift in mindset changes how we approach challenges and setbacks. Instead of viewing them as obstacles, we see them as opportunities for growth. For many, turning 40 brings a profound sense of peace. The constant striving of youth fades, replaced by a quieter, more grounded approach to life. We no longer seek validation from others or measure our worth by society's standards. Instead, we live according to our values, guided by an internal compass that points us toward what truly matters. Family, health, and personal fulfillment take center stage, and we become more selective about where we invest our time and energy. Consider the story of J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series. Before achieving global fame, she was a single mother struggling with financial difficulties and battling depression. But it was during this period of hardship that she rediscovered her passion for writing. Instead of focusing on societal expectations or material success, she poured her heart into her work, creating something that resonated with millions. Her story is a testament to the power of living authentically and following one's passion, even when the world seems to be working against you. At 40, our definition of success evolves. It's no longer about climbing the career ladder or gaining the admiration of others. It's about living in harmony with our values. For some, this means building a family. For others, it's about dedicating time to creative passions or finding contentment in the simple joys of life. As Epictetus wisely said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." This wisdom becomes clear at 40, when we realize that happiness isn't found in accumulation, but in appreciation. It's not about having more, it's about needing less and finding joy in what we already have. This shift in perspective also brings an invaluable gift: inner peace. At 40, we become less reactive and more reflective. We no longer feel the need to prove ourselves in every argument or win every battle. We understand that not all conflicts are worth our time, and that walking away is often a sign of strength, not weakness. Silence, reflection, and mindfulness become tools we use to navigate life's challenges with grace. The Stoics believed that nurturing inner peace is the highest form of mastery, and at 40, we begin to embody this wisdom. Seneca, another Stoic philosopher, once said, "The brave person is the one who is free." At 40, bravery doesn't come from grand gestures or dramatic changes. It comes from the quiet courage to live authentically. We step away from societal expectations and embrace the life that feels true to us. This doesn't mean we abandon responsibility or ignore the world around us. Instead, it means we prioritize what matters most and let go of the things that no longer serve us. This clarity allows us to reassess our priorities. We invest more time in family, not because it's expected, but because it's where we find unconditional love and support. We prioritize our health, not for appearances, but for well-being. We rediscover passions that were once buried under the weight of obligations and give them the attention they deserve. And most importantly, we cultivate inner peace, knowing that true happiness comes not from external achievements, but from within. Life at 40 is not about starting over. It's about starting with wisdom. It's about rewriting the rules and living on your terms. As Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one. At 40, we stop debating, comparing, or seeking approval. We simply live. We live with intention, with purpose, and with the understanding that the years ahead are an opportunity to create a life that reflects our truest self. At 40, life takes on a different texture. It's no longer about speed, competition, or the relentless pursuit of achievements. It's about depth, authenticity, and understanding the delicate balance between ambition and contentment. One of the most beautiful gifts of reaching this stage is that we begin to see time differently. No longer does it feel like an enemy constantly slipping through our fingers. Instead, time becomes an ally, a resource to be cherished and used intentionally. We understand that the way we experience time isn't about how fast or slow it moves. It's about the meaning we attach to each moment. In youth, time often feels limitless. We race through life, assuming there will always be more of it, and as a result, we take it for granted. But by 40, the illusion of endless time fades, and with it comes a newfound appreciation for the present. The Stoic philosopher Seneca captured this wisdom perfectly when he said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." In other words, much of our anxiety about time isn't based on reality, but on our perception of it. We worry about the time we've lost, the opportunities we didn't take, or the future we can't control. But at 40, we begin to understand that the only time that truly matters is now. This realization shifts how we live. We no longer spend our days consumed by regret or fear of the unknown. Instead, we focus on creating meaningful experiences. We take trips we've been putting off, reconnect with old friends, and dive into hobbies we've always been curious about. We realize that life doesn't have to be grand or extravagant to be fulfilling. Simple moments, a conversation over coffee, a walk in the park, or a quiet evening spent reading, take on a new significance. It's not the quantity of experiences that brings fulfillment, it's the quality. This shift in perspective also influences how we approach our health. In our younger years, health often feels like an afterthought. We push our bodies to their limits, sacrificing sleep, ignoring warning signs, and indulging in habits that harm us. We believe we're invincible, that there will always be time to fix what's broken. But by 40, our bodies begin to send us louder messages. Aches linger longer, energy doesn't replenish as quickly, and we're forced to confront the reality that good health isn't guaranteed. It's something we must actively preserve. But this isn't a cause for despair. In fact, it's an empowering realization. By 40, we understand that maintaining our health isn't about vanity or appearances. It's about longevity, vitality, and being able to fully engage with life. We begin to prioritize exercise, not to fit a certain image, but to feel strong and capable. We make mindful choices about what we eat, recognizing that nourishment isn't just about calories, but about how food sustains our body and mind. Sleep becomes sacred, not a luxury we can skip. We embrace these changes not out of fear of aging, but out of a desire to live well. This awareness extends beyond physical health. We also begin to prioritize our mental and emotional well-being. We let go of toxic relationships and surround ourselves with people who uplift us. We set boundaries, understanding that saying no is an act of self-respect, not selfishness. We seek out activities that bring us joy and relaxation, whether that's meditation, journaling, or simply spending time in nature. At 40, we recognize that mental health is just as important as physical health, and we're no longer willing to neglect it. One of the most profound aspects of this stage of life is the shift in our understanding of success. In youth, success is often defined by external markers, promotions, accolades, wealth, and social status. We chase these goals relentlessly, believing that they will bring us happiness. But by 40, we've often achieved many of these milestones and discovered that they don't provide the lasting fulfillment we expected. The excitement is temporary and the sense of emptiness remains. So we redefine success on our terms. It's no longer about how others perceive us. It's about how aligned we feel with our values. Success becomes deeply personal. For some, it means building a family and nurturing meaningful relationships. For others, it's about dedicating time to creative pursuits or giving back to the community. For many, it's about finding contentment in the present moment, without constantly striving for more. As Epictetus said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. By 40, this wisdom resonates deeply. We realize that true wealth is found in simplicity and gratitude, not in accumulation. This realization also changes how we interact with others. We become less concerned with impressing people and more focused on connecting with them. Authenticity becomes a guiding principle in our relationships. We no longer wear masks to fit in or say what we think others want to hear. Instead, we show up as our true selves, knowing that genuine connections are built on honesty and vulnerability. This shift allows us to form deeper, more meaningful relationships and to let go of superficial ones that no longer serve us. At 40, we also develop a new relationship with wisdom. Unlike knowledge, which can be acquired through books or experiences, wisdom is something that emerges over time. It's the ability to see patterns, to understand the nuances of life, and to make decisions with both logic and empathy. By 40, we've faced enough challenges to recognize that life isn't black and white. We've learned to navigate its complexities with grace, balancing reason and emotion in a way that wasn't possible in our younger years. This wisdom allows us to be both decisive and compassionate. We know when to take action and when to step back. We know when to offer advice and when to simply listen. We understand that strength isn't about always having the answers. It's about being open to growth and change. Our experiences have taught us that failure isn't something to be feared, but something to be embraced as part of the learning process. Ultimately, life at 40 is about integration. It's the stage where we bring together the different parts of ourselves, the dreams of our youth, the lessons of our 30s, and the clarity of our current perspective. We begin to see the bigger picture, understanding that every experience, whether joyful or painful, has contributed to the person we are today. It's a time of rebirth, not in the sense of starting over, but in the sense of starting with wisdom, purpose, and a renewed sense of self. At 40, the journey doesn't end. It evolves, becoming a richer, more meaningful exploration of life's possibilities. The most surprising gift of this stage is the wisdom that arises unexpectedly. It doesn't come with fanfare or grand revelations. It comes quietly, in moments of reflection, when the lessons of the past suddenly make sense. We realize that the experiences that once left us confused, hurt, or defeated were not obstacles. They were teachers, shaping our understanding of the world and ourselves. Wisdom, unlike knowledge, isn't something you can acquire through study alone. It's something you earn through lived experience. By 40, most of us have faced enough challenges to develop an intuitive understanding of life's rhythms. We begin to recognize patterns in relationships, careers, and personal growth, allowing us to navigate future challenges with greater ease. This wisdom is steady and grounded. It's not the impulsive confidence of youth, but a quiet assurance rooted in the knowledge that we've overcome hardships before and can do so again. One of the most profound aspects of this wisdom is our ability to balance reason and emotion. In our younger years, emotions often dominate our decisions, leading us to act impulsively or react defensively. But by 40, we've learned the value of pausing, of reflecting before responding. We understand that emotions are valuable guides but should not be the sole drivers of our choices. Instead, we blend emotion with reason, allowing us to approach situations with empathy while maintaining clarity and focus. This balance makes us better problem solvers and more compassionate leaders. We're able to offer advice not just based on logic, but on a deep understanding of human nature. We've experienced heartbreak, loss, and failure, and those experiences have given us the ability to connect with others on a meaningful level. When we listen to someone's struggles, we don't just hear their words, we feel their emotions because we've been there. This empathy allows us to offer support that is both practical and comforting, making us a source of guidance for those around us. But wisdom isn't just about helping others, it's also about understanding ourselves. By 40, we've spent enough time reflecting on our desires, fears, and values to develop a strong sense of who we are. We're no longer searching for our identity in external achievements or the opinions of others. Instead, we've built an internal foundation that is resilient and secure. This self-awareness allows us to make decisions that align with our values, even when those decisions are difficult or unpopular. With this wisdom comes a newfound relationship with time. In youth, time often feels like an enemy, something we're constantly racing against. But at 40, we learn to view time as a companion, something that can be harnessed rather than feared. We no longer feel the need to rush through life, checking off milestones as quickly as possible. Instead, we savor the journey, understanding that the most meaningful experiences aren't the ones we rush toward, but the ones we fully immerse ourselves in. This shift in perspective changes how we approach both success and failure. We no longer see failure as a source of shame or embarrassment. Instead, we view it as a necessary part of growth. We understand that every setback carries a lesson, and that lesson is often more valuable than the success we originally sought. This resilience allows us to take risks without being paralyzed by the fear of failure. We know that even if we stumble, we have the strength to get back up and try again. Consider how this wisdom manifests in our personal relationships. In our younger years, we often approach relationships with unrealistic expectations, believing that they should be easy or that love alone is enough to sustain them. But by 40, we've experienced the complexities of human connection. We've learned that relationships require effort, compromise, and most importantly, understanding. We no longer expect perfection from our partners or ourselves. Instead, we embrace the imperfections, recognizing that they are what make relationships genuine and meaningful. This understanding extends to friendships as well. We become more selective about the people we allow into our inner circle, valuing quality over quantity. We seek friends who uplift us, challenge us to grow, and offer support without judgment. We let go of toxic relationships, not out of bitterness, but out of self-respect. We realize that our time and energy are precious, and we choose to invest them in connections that bring us joy and fulfillment. At 40, we also develop a healthier relationship with uncertainty. In our younger years, uncertainty often feels overwhelming, something to be avoided or controlled. But by 40, we've lived through enough unpredictable moments to understand that uncertainty is a natural part of life. We no longer resist it, we embrace it.